Hi, in this video we're going to focus on montages. And we are gonna create one from scratch so you can see how it works and then test it. Also, before we start, I want to show you that if you go to the characters, heroes, Revenant, animations folder, you can see that there already exists an animation montage for firing the weapon. And it is this one here. That was a part of the assets that came with it. But in order to test this, we are gonna create our own animation montage so you can also see how it works to do that. So the first thing we need to do is go to the animations folder. And also before we proceed, I want to talk a little bit about what an animation montage really is. First off, an animation montage, it's like a wrapper for an animation. It's a way of interrupting any type of animation you're currently doing and override it with an animation montage. So if you're running, for example, with a character and then you use the primary fire montage here, this montage will really override your running animation and play the fire montage instead. So montages really allows you to override animations temporarily, taking it over. But it's not only that, you can do a lot of things with animation montages. For example, if I open this up, you can add different, you can add motion to it, you can add sounds, you can add effects. If I just completely right click here and show you, you can see that you have, let's see, play particle effect, play sound, reset clothing symbol. There is a lot to it. And you can add custom things to it as well. So you can do a lot of things with animation montages, and these are really powerful. So you will find them very useful throughout your projects. All right, I'm going to close this down. And as I said, we are going to create our own animation montage. And really, let's see, if you look, you can see that we have primary, fire, fast. Let's see which one. I'm going to search for fire so we can see all fire animations. And I'm going to double click to just see this animation. This is a fast one. I'm going to go with a fast one. Okay. So I'm going to right click on it, go to create and choose create anim montage. It will now create an anim montage based on this primary fire fast. I'm going to call AM fire fast. And I'm going to call AM Revenant fire fast. AM Revenant fire fast. Let's open this up. And you can see that it uses the default group and default slot. You see, animation montages always makes use of these slots and groups. We are going to use the default ones, but what you can do is provide it a new slot name. So this is a way of, categorizing, like this is the default group, but full body yaw, adjust, and so on. You can create your own slots for it, as well as groups if you wanted to. For now, we have the default group with the default slot, and you also have sections in this montage here. With these sections, what we could actually do is divide it into several sections and having different types of animations. Just to show you what I mean with this, I'm just going to add whatever there is. Let's see if I can add it somewhere here, maybe. I'm trying to add something. Maybe we need I'm gonna clear that one. All right, so we need a preview asset. I'm gonna go here. Let's see. Let's I'm gonna go back to our animation montage. All right. We call it AM Revenant Fire. So I'm gonna open this up. We can try other things later on for now, but really, we don't really have any sounds. We could add that later on also, but let's see if I can find something. I'm gonna go to add notify play sound. You click on this. I'm gonna change the default. Click on the sound. Go to details. Search for fire and see if you can use one of these. I'm gonna go to this fire. Okay, this wasn't really an ordinary fire. That was a fire as in the fire. We don't really have any weapons fire animations, but we could try to add later on if we wanted to. But at least you know how to add sounds. I think we could add them from the marketplace. Let's see if we go to the fab. This is the marketplace. If you search for weapons pack or just weapons, I'm gonna search for free here. Let's see if we can find something interesting here. We have a lot of weapons. There is a weapons pack in my library. I'm gonna bring that up to show you. Animation starter pack, not this one. Let's see, I have a lot of stuff here. There is a FPS weapons bundle. I think it was this one. Yeah. I'm gonna add this to our project. I'm gonna click this and it's called Udemy character. If you get this message, just select the closest one, the closest version, and add to project. This weapons bundle is also containing sounds, I believe, so that's why I'm adding it. Let's see. If you click on it, it will bring it up so you can see some information about it. Yeah. We need to check if there are sounds for it. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm gonna check this one also, animation starter pack. Alright. So let's test this out. I'm gonna see if this was added by now. Let's see. If this was added, if you go to your folder structure, you can see it's called FPS Weapons Bundle. So I'm gonna go here. Let's see if we got sounds here. No, not having any sounds, I believe. Maybe we do. We can do one thing. If I select this, okay, these are really fast. There's one more thing we can do in order to get some sounds. So I'm gonna go to the add folder here, and then we can add, let's see, add feature or content pack. You choose the first person and blueprints, and then just add. We're not gonna use this, but this template is containing sounds we can use. So I'm gonna use add to project, and it should go very quickly. I don't think you need this FPS, weapons bundle we just added, but it does contain cool weapons, but not much of sounds. So use the first person template instead. It's added now, so I'm gonna go here and do, let's see, play sound. And now we got more sounds. As you can see, if you choose for fire, let's see, first person template fire weapon. Let's go with this one. I'm gonna move it backwards a little. I think this is good. And really, you can change the volume multiplier. I think it's a little bit too high for me right now, so I'm gonna keep it at 0.5. I think that's perfect. So really, as you can see, with animation montages, you can do a lot of things. You have the animation here. It overrides any existing ongoing animation temporarily when the montage is running, and you can also add sounds to it, and much more also. So we are gonna make use of this. So we have a fire animation montage. If I go back to my character now, let's see, blueprints, character, and I'm gonna open up our animation blueprint really because we are gonna make use of it. I'm gonna close down all the tabs I don't need for now. I need this one. So how do we use animation montages? Well, in order to use them, you really must integrate them with your animations. Okay, otherwise it will not work. And in order to integrate them, you need to tell your animations which slot to use. So if you just type default slot, let's see if I can default. There you go, default slot. And connect these together. You can see that anything that comes from ground, loco, and in here really are now having integrated with this default slot. And this default slot is really referring to montages that are using that default slot. If I open up your animation montage, I'm going to show you very soon. You can see that we are using this. And now, doing this, I'm going to open up our animation montages. I think it's better to just search for it. Let's see, Revenant. This is the animation montage. If you look, it's using that. I'm gonna default group, default slot. So this is what it is referring to. So it's important that you use the correct slot and group, or in this case, default slot, when it comes to integrating our animation montages so we can use them. If you don't do that, you will not be able to use them. So we will see this in action now. And also, if you click on this, you can see that I can change which group or slot to use here. But we are going to use the default one because that's what I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to keep the default one. There is another thing we need to do. And let's see, if you go to, I'm going to open up the blueprint for our character. So let's go to blueprints, character. This is the Revenant. And so how do we fire? Well, I'm gonna do a left mouse. Let's see if you can. And as a mini exercise, I want you to try to figure this one out yourself. So when we click the left mouse button, how do you think we are gonna run that fire animation? I'm gonna give you some tip here, of course. Try searching for play montage. If you find that node, try to use it here and see how it behaves. Try to make it work. Give this a try, and otherwise we will do this together. So pause the video now, please. Okay, hopefully you did well. So as mentioned, it's quite easy. We're gonna play a montage. So I'm gonna type play montage. You can see we have this white node here. Let's see, play montage. And it requires a skeletal mesh component. And we are gonna input our skeletal mesh component here. Oops, sorry. Let's go going here. And this is the montage to play. As I mentioned, we're gonna play the Revenant Fire Fast. You do have other settings here as well, but we are not gonna change them. You can change the play rate if you wanted to. And These are really delegates or events that will run depending on, the state of the process here, because if the animation montage is finished, we will come here and so on. If it's interrupted, we will come out from here, so on and so forth. So let's just do a print string on completed fire. And this runs when we are left clicking. So let's just see what happens. As you can see, he is firing the weapon. One thing I want you to note here, it's really hard to see, but if I run and fire at the same time, look what happens. Look at the body. Do you see that? The montage is taking over the entire body, and that's not really what we want. So we want to be able to run and shoot at the same time. So really the upper body will be used by the arms and head, and the lower body will be used by the legs. So we can do two things at the same time. And in order to do that, we need to do something else with our animations. We need to do a layered blend per bone. So let's do that. Let's see if I can. If we just search for layered blend per bone, it takes a base pose here, and the base pose is really from the middle of the body to the lower part of the body. So you can suppose that the base pose will be from the spine or from the middle here, approximately from the stomach, to the feet. That's the base. For the blend pose, that's what we want to add to it. So it's really from the middle and upwards. And in order to achieve this, we need to also configure it. So I'm going to select this layer blend per node and go to branch filter. And let's add one. It's called spine underscore 01. This is relating to a bone on the character mesh, okay? It currently becomes like this because we haven't really made any inputs here. So let's do that. All right, let's see. So what I'm gonna do is let's try out this. I'm gonna duplicate these. Because the base pose is really from the legs and downwards, so I'm gonna delete this. This is for the legs and downwards, as I mentioned to you earlier, but also we need to cache this, by the way, because we want to reuse it. So I'm gonna do a cache. If you just search for cache, I'm gonna call it ground loco cache. Use cache pose ground loco. So we are caching this state machine so we can reuse it, as I mentioned. And what I'm doing here is that if you look here, the base one is really from the middle and downwards to the legs, or should I say the feet. So I'm using this ground loco and these two. I mean, these are for the feet. However, for the upper body, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm still gonna use this cache pose here. I'm gonna duplicate all of these as well. And we are gonna connect this here. And we are also gonna integrate our slot in here. So now only the upper body will be able to use this slot, as you can see. So the integration is only done on the upper part of the body now for the shootings, as you can see here. That's why I'm using this. And make sure you have configured it correctly here, Spino 1. Before we proceed, let me just show you Spino 1. So if you go to the Revenant blueprint here, click the mesh, you see that the Revenant skeletal mesh. I'm going to click on this Browse to Revenant. It will show it in your browser here. I'm going to open this up and go to skeletal view. And you can see that if I just search for Spino 1, it's really referring to this middle section bone here, approximately in the middle of the body. That's Spino 1. So that's why I wrote Spino 1. So the upper body is used from Spino 1 upwards, and then we have the other part from the spine and downwards. Okay, just wanted to show you that. Make sure to spell it properly. So let's see, and you have blend weights here as well. It's like how much you want to blend these two. I'm gonna keep it for 1 for now. As you can see now, I can run and shoot at the same time, and he's still using his upper body and lower body at the same time. That animation montage is not really overriding the lower part, or should I say the upper part. Just look how it behaves. You can see that the legs doesn't really stop suddenly. Even though I'm running, it keeps running. Okay, so from the middle section of the body and downwards, we are using the legs, and from the middle section and upwards, we are using the upper body. All right, that seems to do the trick, and that seems to work pretty well. And really, a smart thing to do here would really be that if you look here, this is the animation graph. We could really cache this so we don't have any duplicates. I'm gonna give you that as a challenge. So I want you to pause the video now and try to cache this, and then use that cache version in here to make it look much more neat. How do you think we are gonna achieve that? I just showed you how to create a cache, so please pause the video now and give this a try. Hopefully you did well. So if not, I'm gonna show you how to do it, so no need to worry, but really it's fairly simple. I'm gonna duplicate this for now. And you can see that we are having the yaw and pitch, and this is the output pose. Okay, we really need an input pose as well, and that's the really ground loco cache. Okay, so maybe what we can do is I'm gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna use that cache pose ground loco cache. I'm gonna put it in here. And then what we can do is really to have a version of this with the default slot and another one without. I think that could do the trick pretty well, actually. And let's see if we can achieve that. So what I'm going to do is just move this a little bit backwards. And what we can do now is, let's see, what is the easiest way of doing it? There are usually different ways of doing this, but I'm going to duplicate that default slot. And we can just, well, we can do this. What you can do, if you just do this, I'm gonna do a blend poses by Boo, and This is also a very handy node. You will be able to use it, and what we can do, it's like an if statement. So I'm gonna disconnect this, and if you just put it in here, you can do this. If you just put it here, I'm gonna duplicate this catch. If this is true, we're gonna go here. If this is false, we are gonna go here. And this is gonna go here. So I think you're getting the logic here. So what's happening here is that if this is checked, we will get this here with the shooting, and if this is false, we will not get it here. We will get the false one without the slot. The slot is really what allows us to shoot. So we're getting a different output poses here. And then we can use this to our advantage. And what I'm gonna do is we're doing a layered blend per bone. And let's see. I think it becomes a little bit too complicated doing it this way, but you can if you wanted to. But we need to check this depending on what we want to achieve. So I think for now I'm gonna just leave it. I'm not gonna go into details about doing this because it becomes a little bit too complicated and there will be more work to do. So let's wait with that for now at least. Maybe we can add that later on. Or maybe I'm gonna give you that as a challenge. However, there is another thing we can do. I'm gonna test if this works. So let's do this. I'm gonna click X here. Let's do this instead. I'm gonna connect this here and I'm gonna paste it here. This can go in here and in here. I'm gonna first see how this works. I really need to test this out before we get it right. I think that's working pretty well. But always when you make those changes, you really should test it out to see that it doesn't work, in a wrong way. Depending on what you're doing, because there is a lot you can do. However, I'm gonna do, we are gonna cache something. I'm gonna just delete those. I wanna cache this instead. And in order to do it, I'm gonna copy this, copy paste, just like before, and I'm gonna cache this. I'm gonna call it ground loco plus AO. Ground loco with AO. I think plus AO is better because the name becomes shorter. Or maybe ground loco underscore aim offset. You know that this is a combination of your ground loco together with aim offsets. So now we can reuse all of these nodes here by taking advantage of this. So I'm gonna use use cached pose ground loco aim offset. I think you're seeing now how these are being used together. So we can just delete this and connect it here. We can delete these and duplicate this and connect it here. So just like programming, you can make them variables and make use of that variable here. Can you see how easier it is to understand now? Let's connect these here. I'm just gonna make it look neat. Let's move these down. I'm gonna move these up like this so you can clearly see what's going on. All right, much better. Let's test it one more time. It seems to work very well. So I'm pretty happy with that, and the video is really becoming a little bit too long, so I don't want to make it too long. And I think in the next video I'm just gonna quickly show you how you possibly can create your own animations when it comes to aim offset, because I didn't mention in the previous video. I'm gonna show you that, so I'm gonna quickly make a video about how to do that. It's not really difficult, but it's really good for you to know. All right, so hopefully you learned something valuable. And keep in mind that you really need to integrate the slot here with your animations in order to use animation montages. So this is how you make them available for use, but you also need to use them as well by doing play montage, just like we're doing here. You can see that mesh. I'm doing a play montage here, and we are printing the string fire. I'm going to delete that. We don't need it anymore. And again, there is a lot of things you can do with montages, really. So they are very useful. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.